Alvinator here from Mulligans and Hackers, and today we have Todd from the Bogey Golf Co. joining us. How you doing, pal?
Doing well.
So, buddy. So now I see you got the actual brick and mortar shop behind you now. Um,
Yeah, it came together rather quickly. I'll just touch on it now for a little bit, but it came together rather quickly late in the fall, and we actually didn't get in here till a couple weeks before Christmas. So it's still a work in progress. And the reason it happened was I had a golf shop and a t-shirt shop. We also do a t-shirt printing shop, but I had a golf shop it was located in a local arena in town here, in a small town. It was a space, it was available, the rent was good. I wanted a space, so I took it. Didn't lend to a lot of traffic coming through the door being at an arena. There was another gentleman in town who had a hockey shop. He had it up near the major highway that runs through the town. So he was putting in a golf simulator at his shop, and he approached me. One Stop Skate Shop is his business. He approached me, "Hey, do you want to do a flip? I'll go into the rink and you come up where the main highway is, where we have a golf simulator, and put your golf shop in." So that was a no-brainer. I mean, we always wanted to be in that location. The area we're at, like I said, it's an hour due south of Ottawa. It's a major tourist area. It's one of the busiest corridors in North America coming through here. And we always wanted to be part of that. And it just so happened that that worked out. Now, it worked out quickly. So like I said, we're adjusting and working with it. And Mother Nature, I don't know what it's like out there, but out here, she's throwing a curveball at us. We're probably going to be at least a month early. So now we're scrambling to get new product in and stuff like that we had scheduled for the 1st of April, end of March type of thing. So we're really happy with the brick and mortar. We started out online.
yeah, I was going to say. So let's go back a little bit here now. So, the Bogey Golf Co. Let's go back to where you got the name, the idea, and
Okay.
and why the merchandise side.
Yep. Okay. So I'll give you a very quick golf background for me. Golf has been in my life forever. When I was born, there were plans on the table that my dad, my uncle, and their uncle had for a golf course. So by the time I was 6, which was 1972, they had built a golf course, a 9-hole track located right around this area. And so golf has always been a huge part of my life. I started playing when I was young. Probably could have started playing younger, but young enough, 8 years old type of thing. And worked down at that golf course when I was a teenager. The golf course itself, like most of the golf courses around here, really become a fabric of the public life around here. They're really beacons. People go to eat there. They have breakfast there, whether they're playing golf or not. So cut that story short. It's been a big part of my life. In 2014, the latter part of that, Halloween day, actually, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. It came as a shock. Although, like most men, I should have known it was coming and should have seen a doctor earlier. And kind of threw me for a loop. Ended up having surgery to remove a testicle. Then went through chemo. That was good. Seemed to work. Went through chemo in the spring of 2015. In October of 2015, it came back with a vengeance. Not a good diagnosis. So at that time, they decided, instead of regular chemo, to give me stem cell transplants. I had 3 of those. I started those in January of 2016. And it was kind of I'm not going to say it was a cutting edge remedy to the situation, but it was fairly new for testicular cancer patients. It had been done in the US, but not a whole lot up here in Canada. Stem cell had been done with leukemia patients a lot, where you take stem cells from other people because that's a blood cancer. But with testicular cancer, you have to harvest the blood cells from your own blood, store it. And the easiest way to say it is what they do is they give you the highest dose chemo possible, just rips away your immune system. Cancer does that anyway, but with high dose chemo, you don't have an immune system. Then they feed you back your stem cells, and hopefully that works. I had 3 of those transplants over 6 months. The easiest way to explain it is the doctor said, we walk you up to the cliff, we hang you over the cliff, and then we pull you back from the cliff. So it worked. It worked. But I had a lot of time in the hospital. So I was in the hospital probably for 5 months, 3 weeks out of every 4, solid in the hospital. Had a lot of time to think. I have 2 young lads, 32 and 30 this year. They were obviously much younger back then, but I had a lot of time to think. And one of the things I started thinking about was, what am I going to leave my 2 boys? Not a whole hell of a lot, to be honest with you. And then I started thinking about, and I don't know why, I started thinking about friends. And, I didn't dwell on stuff. I was upbeat, I was going to beat this thing. But I started thinking about golf, and the best times that I ever had were playing golf on a Thursday night, men's night, with usually the 4, 5, or 6 same guys. You split up groups, whatever. And man, I just thought, wow, that was such a blessing in my life. I didn't even realize it till this stuff came along. And then I started thinking, geez, I wonder if you could turn that into a business. So our original thought was we were going to do Bogey Golf. That was the original name we came up with. We were going to do that as kind of a t-shirt, humorous, funny way to enter the golf market. And we did that. I think we started that in 2017, just ordered a bunch of t-shirts, come up with some sayings, put them on the t-shirts, sold them locally, and we did that. Then we started talking about a website, and we started talking about branching out into headwear, and could we do golf shirts, and that was kind of a pipe dream, but we decided, what, let's do the website. So my oldest son and I decided we would tackle that, and as we discussed off air, I'm not the most technical person in the world. So I gave that to him, and it was overwhelming. We hooked up with Shopify, which, obviously a great platform, works for us. We use it to this day. But he didn't have time to do it. He was playing junior hockey. He was going to school. I gave it to him thinking, wow, the kid's got way more technical ability than I ever have. So anyway, he kind of said, Dad, I can't do this. So I said, okay, well, I said, no problem. Let me give it a shot. So this was after I had gone through the stem cell transplants and everything, and I was kind of off for quite a while before I went back to work. And I played around with it, made a little bit of headway, and then got back to work. And at night after work, I would play around with it. And one night I was sitting in bed watching a hockey game. I had this laptop on my lap, trying to do this website. And I said, what in the hell are you doing? Would you pay me to go landscape your house or build a house, which I also can't do. I have nothing anywhere close to that in my bones. So I said, you got a little extra money right now, just pay somebody. Well, so we paid a Shopify expert. He had it up and running in 3 days, 4 days tops. It was $1,000. It was the best $1,000 I ever spent. So anyway, So we got the website up and going under the handle of Bogey Golf, and it was fun. It was exciting. It was, my boys are involved in the business, although I don't have their names on anything legal because I want to establish that first and make sure that it's, but they are involved in the business, and we would run ideas back and forth, and it was helter skelter and not organized, and quite frankly, it could be more organized today, to be honest with you. It always could be more organized.
That's a process.
Yeah. So we did the website, we got it up and going. We started making sales. You're tracking, oh, how many people came to the website today? And then you get to know, well, if we reach 100, we're going to get a couple sales because that's just what happens. It was stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're broadening out your product line, and you get excited about that. And then you start, like we talked off air, you start networking. Right. Exactly. So you start networking, you see those hats in the background, you're wearing one right now.
You bet. Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Mike Johnny is a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
He's been really good to us since we started this whole thing.
Yeah. Same with us, to be honest with you. And we hope to keep them on board, and they make a great hat. It's a great hat.
Yep.
So we broadened out into that. Then unfortunately I got cancer again, colon cancer.
Wow.
So that was right at the start of the pandemic. So we actually didn't have a bad year in 2020, even though I had cancer. But the good thing about it was a website. I could do treatment and I could still work at it and stuff like that. So we grew over the pandemic. I had a resection of my colon, did the chemo. Everything was fine. And then last January, that came back again. So this is my fourth go around with it. And I'm not telling this for sympathy or anything. I'm not that guy. You want to talk about it, I'll talk about it, no problem. But I'm not the guy that goes out. I'm not going to crawl in a corner and wither away. You got to keep going. I saw a quote from somebody, I can't remember what her name was, but she says, if the doctor gives me 2 years to live, why would I lay around for 2 years and do nothing? Why wouldn't I? So that's my philosophy in it. Last year would have been our 5th year with the website up fully running, 5th year in business. We took a kicking last year. I wasn't able to do what I should have been able to do. I apologize to some of our vendors and things like that, just because I felt the need that I wanted to make sure people knew we were still going to be around, and that, this wasn't an on purpose thing. This was just something that we had to handle and push through. And I think we've done that now. The latest diagnosis isn't the greatest diagnosis in the world. But with the coming of the new brick and mortar store, putting in a full golf. So what we're going to do with that is, instead of just having Bogey Golf branded items, we're going to do a full golf shop. We've talked to companies like Sunday Swagger, Pins and Aces, some Canadian companies, 2 Under, stuff like that. And we're going to bring in stuff like that, as well as develop. We have a whole whack of brands that we haven't even developed yet that pertain to the golf industry. So we're going to develop those as well, sell those in store as well as online. We're going to keep the online presence. And like I said, we've hooked up with 36 a day. We've hooked up with Caddy Daddy out of the US. We sell their claw glove. It's been a great seller for us. They've been great with us through this whole process, me dealing with cancer and stuff like that. And that's where we're at right now. We're at the point where it's kind of a tipping point, but we're moving through it.
What a ride, pal! Wow.
Yeah,
that is quite the journey from and everything in between. I don't even know where to go with that. That is just off the wall. Yeah, I mean,
well, there's nothing you really can do about it. It's just you have to move. You just have to keep moving forward. And that's what I would tell anybody who's going through it. Now, everybody handles things differently.
For sure.
I handle things way different than other people. Some people can't cope with it. Some people can, some people in between. You just do what you can do with it and hope for the best.
Yeah, and I guess having a golf brand to kind of focus some of your energy on must be a little bit of a
Oh,
mental disconnect from that type of stuff.
oh yeah. And I mean, it's brought us, I originally, when I was sitting in the hospital bed thinking about, hey, can I do a company? Could this be something? It really was to leave something for my two boys. So that's the main goal right now, is to get this to a point where if something happens, or when something happens, I can say to them, okay, this is yours, but it's yours. You want to keep it going? That's fine. You don't? That's also fine. But I want to be able to leave something to them to be able to say that, basically. So we're excited about it. We've got all kinds of plans. We have to put the plans into production, if you will.
Well, I guess the first step would have been getting the brick and mortar store, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first step was the website, but really there came a point, I can't tell you a pinpoint as to when that happened, but there came a point between 2018 and say 2021 where discussions between myself and Dylan and Tanner were, you know what, we need a store. I know we're a small town, like this town here it's a huge tourist area, but the town itself is only 3,500 people. I could be wrong about that. I could be off. But like I said, in the summer, this area just swells up because we're in the upper Canada tourist region. So, getting the brick and mortar store was another step. It was never another level up. Now, this has all been funded out of my pocket. So the next step, because like I said, last year we had trouble. We had trouble because I couldn't do what I needed to do. And luckily our vendors were very good with us and played ball with us. But what the next step is funding. And I really think, and I think we're very close to that in a good way. And I think once that happens, then we're going to see a lot of our plans that originally were pipe dreams that are getting closer come to fruition. And I think once that happens, then we're going to really start rolling. We also have another business, which is a t-shirt printing business too. Started after Bogey Golf. So there's two businesses there. There's some synergies there too with printing and embroidery. And we think we can make that all work and come out on top and be flourishing.
Oh, that's cool, pal. Um, do you think you as a brick and mortar store, simulators are big out here for winter golf because you can't play winter golf out here.
You can't out here either.
Is that something that you would look into doing as well? Having like a golf type facility with a merchandise store wrapped around it type thing?
Well, it's certainly something we would look at. Right now, this is the perfect setting for us. And the owner of that simulator, who owns the hockey shop, we're working pretty good together. So there might be I'll use the word synergies again, whereby, I know he wants to take that a little bigger. And I know that this place that we're in right now is not going to hold us forever. So there will be a move there. And there's already talks about where we're going to go with that. Our plan for this golf shop this year is to do clothing, accessories, bags, carts, things of that nature. I don't think we'll do clubs. Clubs is a whole other ball of wax, a lot of inventory, a lot of money.
Yep.
Then you got to get into club fitting, that sort of thing. There's a lot of widgets and gadgets to that. Will we do clubs? I think eventually we will. I'm trying to think of a different way to do it. I'm thinking maybe that we're going to try to do an affiliation with maybe a bigger used club producer here in Canada. We've kind of had a little bit of preliminary thought and discussion on that. And I think that's the way we're going to dip our toe into it. For now, though, I think we'll do wedges and putters, maybe that specialty type thing. But really focus on the clothing, become the hat place for the region. You want a golf hat, you know, 36 a day, etc. You come and see us. We want to become a destination store. We're in the triangle of Ottawa, Kingston, Ontario, and Cornwall, Ontario. We're smack dab at the bottom in the middle. We want to become that destination store where I want to get a couple hats. I want to get a couple shirts. You know what? It's 40 minutes away, but I'm going to see Bogey Golf. That's really what. And then with our brands that we're developing ourselves, we have the Bogey Golf brand. We have several others that we're going to develop. That also becomes a player, a moneymaker for us, and we can expand that as well. And we're really, at the start of this year, we've really made some headway into talking to new manufacturers. And I've been really impressed with a couple of the manufacturers that I've talked to. And that's one of our main focuses this year, is to align ourselves with manufacturers, producers that are really helping out Canadian companies, number one, and that are on the cutting edge. And we found a couple of those. We haven't done anything with them yet, but we are going to do that. I think that kind of mirrors what I saw your podcast with Mike the other day. It was a little while ago, I think, but I think he's kind of in the same boat where he's looking at different manufacturers, different materials. It's hard to trust. It's hard to trust somebody with what you want to do. It really is.
So way back in 3 years ago, when we started our whole venture into the golf world here, golf social media, we looked into the merchandise line as well, because we had a basic logo, right? I mean, it's right here, right? And
great name.
Thanks, appreciate it. It fits our golf games specifically, perfectly.
Mine too.
But we it's like, okay, let's go and look at some shirts. Maybe we'll get some to sell. You know, maybe let's add the merchandise side to what we're doing as well, right? It took me probably 3 weeks to realize that I don't like this merchandise thing. It is a time eater. Todd.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to play golf. I don't want to have to worry about the logistics of merchandise. Like, because we did a couple of pre-buys. We did one in our first year. We did one in our second year, where friends, family, people who've followed us for a while is like, send us some money. We'll get a shirt made up for you. We'll get all that, colors and sizes and all that type of stuff. Dude, I haven't looked into it since our second pre-buy. I was like, I am done with that, because that is just such a different animal itself. And like you said, the trust factor, you're reaching out to people and it's like, can we do this? When locally we have some pretty good embroidery shops and stuff, but it's like that whole process of buying shirts, getting shirts low, and then getting them out to the customer, man, time.
Oh yeah.
So I can only imagine having an online store and just the operations of having an online store and getting it from order to customer. Like that is a full-time job, man.
And the other thing is you're doing that while you're bootstrapping a business.
Yeah.
You're like, how many do I have to order?
Yeah.
I was thinking 25. We're thinking 100. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're going to have to do that in split shipments, because we just can't do that now. So stuff like that is, it's, you learn as you go. We're still learning. We're very young. I'm trying to come off here like we're a 25-year-old company. We're not. We're boots on the ground, bootstrapping this. How much money do we have here? Do we have enough money to bring in a bunch of hats? Yep. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. Funding for us is going to be key for this year. We have major plans, so we will get the funding. We've already started that, but yeah, sourcing product, and then you're getting calls at 2 a.m. from Bangladesh because they might not realize what time it is over here. So you're actually doing business between 2 and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then you're always keenly aware of trying to do business within Canada. And it's hard to do. It really is hard to do. And we found a couple, I shouldn't say a couple, we found more than a couple companies, 36 a day being one of them, that do that and do it way better than we have. And in fact, after talking to 36 a day and selling their product and being involved with them, I switched a couple things around to what they were doing, who they were using, that sort of thing. I'm not going to say names or anything. I don't know if they'd want me to do that, and that's all about networking in the industry. So now we're talking about, we talk to you guys, talk to Mike, talk to the guys down in the US at Caddy Daddy, Sunday Swagger, Pins and Aces, companies like that. Then we're talking to people over in Pakistan, Bangladesh. We have not talked to anybody in China yet. Just for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. And then I'll single out one. I'm not going to say their name, but there's one company I found about a month ago. I found him on Instagram, and he's doing work with quite a few Canadian companies, not just golf, kind of a broad spectrum of clothing companies. And when I found this gentleman, we had a conversation, and I was just blown away. I was like, I actually found this guy through Instagram. Like, how's that even work? But you learn quickly that when you're networking, it doesn't matter where you network, as long as you're networking.
I mean, Instagram has been our major networking platform that we use. We're a small podcast, that we do out of our home, and the amount of people we've met globally, we're actually working on. So, all of our podcasts been North American, Americans, Canadians, right? But we're going to become an international podcaster here in the next little while, because we have some people
that's great,
in Australia that are going to jump on, and
nice.
And I'm hoping to get again. Let's make that international. Let's do
You're hoping to get to Australia?
Well, no. Let's get somebody on the podcast from there first, but like get somebody from Britain on.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy, but like again, you talked about tracking sales. We track our podcast and where it gets downloaded, and sometimes it surprises me with such a little podcast that we have where we get downloads from and how many. Well, our last year report that we got from Spotify was obviously Canada for downloads, US, but the third was Germany.
And Is that right, eh?
I'm like, it doesn't even, you can't even comprehend, like, we don't even, do they speak English there? Well, of course they do, but I mean, like Germany is like, we're talking double digits in our percentages of 100 German downloads. So I'd love to get somebody from Germany to come on the podcast too, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
funny you say that, because our biggest customer over the last 2 years is from the Netherlands.
Really?
It's the only European country that's ever bought from us.
And it's funny how golf can be that global connection, right? Whether it's merchandise, the golf game itself, or even just socializing like this, it's all over. Everybody on the globe plays this game, so
it's a very social game. Like I said, sitting in that hospital bed, thinking about some of my best times, it's with that group of guys. We can walk in there, comment on what you're wearing, what you're not wearing, comment on a shot, give each other jabs, and it's just drink a few pops, more than a few pops, sometimes, and then go into the clubhouse afterwards, and it starts all over again. And it could be any subject in the world.
Yep.
And I love that. To me, that's the fabric of golf. I might be like a 17 handicap, and I might be pushing that. I just love the game. I can go low sometimes, low for me. I can go real high sometimes too, but it doesn't matter. And I should have mentioned it before. The premise of Bogey Golf, the name, came from me deciding while I was in that hospital bed that when I got out of there in the summer and was going to play golf again, I'm going to quit honing in on par as my score, birdies as my score. My score is a bogey. If I could bogey every hole where I'm at right now, when I was younger, I was in single digits. I'm not in single digits anymore. I would be happy. Bogey golf. We all heard the term.
You bet.
And bogey golf.
If we could play bogey golf when we started, yep, that was a good round.
And then from there, when I started thinking about my buddies, I started thinking, and I'm writing this stuff down. I'm thinking, well, what is a bogey golfer? Well, bogey golfer is a guy who golfs +9 or +18. Okay. But what is a bogey golfer? I know guys who have a 5 handicap who are bogey golfers. And the way I explain that is it's an attitude. It's I'm not higher than you. You know what? You're a 20 handicap. I'm a 5. You just hit a good shot. Just good guys.
Yep.
Just guys you can have a pop with.
It's the group you put around you for sure.
Oh, 100%. And that to me is a bogey golfer. That defines a bogey golfer to me. I don't care what you shoot. It's more your attitude while you're playing.
For sure.
And to me, that really took hold of me while I was there, and that really spurred us on to where we are now. We're not breaking any records, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of golf left to be played, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, pal, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this. I think we're, kindred spirits in the whole golf world when it comes to playing the game, you bet. And I think before too long, we should do this again, especially when you start releasing some more new stuff, some more branded content. We should definitely connect again.
When we'll connect again for sure, and we'll do a collab on some prizes and stuff too.
Yeah.
Once we get rolling here this spring.
Yeah, that sounds like something we could get behind for sure.
Yeah, we need to change that hat on your head to a bogey golf hat instead of. Mike won't want to hear that, but
Mike won't want to hear that. Mike, yeah. If you look at our profile, and
I'm only kidding. We sell his hats too, so
we'll be wearing his hats for quite some time, pal.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Thanks, Todd.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.